So I was sitting there thinking, and I was like, man, I really wish I could make a video, and so that's what I'm doing. I know I said I was going to be recording and filming on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but it's just weird not making videos quite as often, because then I come up with ideas for these videos, and I know I could just pre-record them and then wait for Tuesdays and Thursdays, but I feel like these are things that y'all can like take into consideration. I don't know. I put pants on for you guys. That's that. I didn't even put pants on to go with my boyfriend to go driving with him. Today's video is going to be a review-ish, book talky type video, but it's going to be on 3 books instead of just one, so they're going to be short type reviews, and these are all books I have read within the past week and a half, and so yeah, so these are the 3 books that I'm going to be reviewing today. We have Death Cure by James Dashner, A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness, and then Same Kind of Different as Me. So I'm going to start with The Death Cure by James Dashner. So we're going to start with this book right here, like I said, and there is really not much I'm going to say about this book because it is the 3rd and last book in the trilogy, and so I don't want to spoil anything, but things are going to be spoiled with this, but I'll warn you guys when a spoiler is coming up if you haven't read this book. But I rated this 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, and I really liked this book. I think it was my favorite in the trilogy. It would go The Death Cure, The Scorched Trials, and The Maze Runner, so I mean 3, 2, 1. But I really liked it. I loved how everything was wrapped up and how everything panned out. While some things were a bit confusing and everything like that, I just really loved it. There was one thing that I didn't like about this book, and I wanted to throw it against the wall or punch James Dashner in the face. And this is going to be a spoiler, so I'm going to put the book down, and when the book comes back up, then the spoiler is over. So, spoiling time. I absolutely hated the fact that Newt and Teresa died. I actually cried when Newt died, and both of those things were spoiled for me, but I still cried because those were, like, especially Newt, he was the only character I was emotionally attached to. The feels, man, the feels. Okay, the spoiler is over. Like I said, I really liked this book. There were some things that I didn't like about this book, but that was only the spoiled part that I just spoiled. Also, I will be posting full written out reviews, like the links for the reviews in the description below to my Goodreads reviews. So if you would like to know more in depth about these books, then you can click on those and read them. I'm not going to go into synopsises of these books because of this is just going to be a bookish talk type deal. So next we have A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness, and let me tell you, this book ripped out my heart. You know, I went to the library to get this like happy contemporary type read, and I freaking come back with this book and I read it and I cry. No! I rated this book 5 out of 5 stars, and I absolutely adored it. This book was so amazing, and I love how things panned out. And one of my favorite things about this whole book was the artwork, because it's so gorgeous and it's black and white, which makes it even more gorgeous. And so like you'll be reading along, and I'm trying to find like something that I like really liked. You'll be reading along and you'll come to these pages of just beautiful artwork. Like you can see like the outsiding of this, like it's just on certain pages, and then you have like this, and I just loved that so much. And I love the way it was written because it wasn't, I don't want to say it wasn't like full pages, but it was spaced, and it made me feel like I wasn't reading as much, and there was just so much content packed into this tiny little book that isn't really that tiny, but it was just amazing. I don't even know how do words describe this book. I have no idea, but it was just this lovely thing, and I am so glad I finally have read it, because I definitely want to pick up more Patrick Ness books because he seems like this really amazing author, and yes, I loved it. And if you are a bit weary about picking this up, I would say pick it up anyway, because odds are you're gonna end up loving it. You might want to have some tissues nearby though, because of the fact that it is a bit sad. So the last book is same kind of different as me, and this is by Ron Hall and Denver Moore, and it took me until last night to realize that this is a true story, when the whole time I was reading it I thought it was fictional, so I thought I was crying over fictional characters, but instead I was crying over real people, and so that definitely changed my perspective on things. But this book was a book I had gotten as a blind date for a book, and I was really, really weary about trying to read this because it is definitely out of my comfort zone of reading, and so I didn't really know if I was going to enjoy it. But I'm really glad that I stuck with it, because while this is nonfiction, I usually never read nonfiction, and it is written in narrative, but like I said, it is nonfiction. I adored this book. It was amazing, and it taught me so many life lessons, and I just really appreciate this book for what it is. So this book was written in a dual point perspective, so it was written by two different people's perspectives. We have Ron Hall's perspective and Denver Moore's perspective, and at first I was a bit turned off by how Ron acted and everything like that, and he really, his ways were conceited and money-loving, and I didn't want to continue reading because I just thought I was going to be reading about this conceited guy the whole time. But things turned around for him and everybody in this book, and so he ended up changing his ways, and I really loved seeing it written in the two different languages. Like, Ron Hall is this, I don't want to say classy type man, but he is this white man living in this world where black people weren't as thought of highly, and so he had a bit more class to him, when Denver Moore was this homeless black guy, so he had a different speaking language and definitely a bit different writing language in terms of this book. Something I really loved but kind of spoiled me is it has pictures, since it, like I said, is nonfiction, so it has actual pictures of the actual people, and so I really enjoyed looking at those, because then I'd get to see what the people looked like and everything like that. This book is definitely a tearjerker. Things happen towards the end of the book, and so I was a bit upset about those. I cried, and at the time when I was crying, I thought I was crying over fictional people, and then when I got back to my room and finished it and looked at the cover, I saw that it was a true story, and so I cried even more, because this is real people and they went through this stuff, and so it kind of just really put me into a different perspective because of it. And so it's definitely an amazing book, and while it is Christian based nonfiction, I would recommend it to anybody who kind of just needs a change of heart about things, because not only did it show forgiveness and love, it showed acceptance and relationships and changing and evolving of people's attitudes and relationships, and it was just so amazing, and it was worth the crying of this book. It definitely was. I rated this 5 out of 5 stars if I didn't say that already. This is definitely going to be on my favorites for this year, and I usually never read nonfiction books, but picking this up, it definitely was worth it. These are the 3 books, like I said, that I had read in the last week that I reviewed. So we have a 4 out of 5 star book and then 2 5 out of 5 star books. So overall, very good reading week for me. If any of these little mini reviews that aren't that many convince you to read these books, you should definitely tell me in the comments below. Also, if you've read any of these books and have any of the same feelings on these books, you should leave those in the comments down below as well. I'm also going to show you what I am currently reading, and that is Paper Valentine by Brenna Yovanoff, and I am a bit iffy about this book. While I am only 37 pages into it, it is slow kicking as of right now, and I kind of just really want to get to the actiony killer thriller part of this book. It seems to be a bit middle grade, but I don't think it is a middle grade book. I think it is exactly a young adult book like it was said, but right now I am a bit iffy about if I'm going to like this book, so I'm kind of waiting to see if everything pans out like it is said to. So yes, if you like this video, give it a huge thumbs up and hit that subscribe button if you would like to be notified on if I make videos or just want to watch any more of my videos. Hitting that subscribe button would mean a lot to me. If you read any of these books, like I said, or have any comments or opinions on them, leave those in the comments down below. It would be greatly appreciated. Also, if you have any video requests, leave those down below as well, because while I do have video ideas, I would love to know what you guys would like to see me do. I will have a tag video coming up probably on Tuesday that Gabriel has tagged me in, so that should be fun. Until next time, bye! Hey, they're being really obnoxious over there. It is written in dual, of course, Bailey Amber!
Smells like straight up weed in our hallway.
In the middle of a recording and you come back in.
My fault, I'm sorry.